Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः श्रीमेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। Good. So namaste once again to all of you. So in the 12th sloka, Adi Shankaracharya said, Nanopadi Vasha, having been being in the grip of Nana Upadis, different varieties of Upadis, we are all struck. And because of that, all our problem, this samsara is there. And then from the 13th sloka, he starts going a little deeper. Because as I explained to you, for something to be called Upadhi, three conditions need to be satisfied. The first condition is nearness. That Upadhi and Upahitam should be very near to each other. Closeness should be there. And the second condition is the Upadhi should be transferring its properties to the Upahita. And the third condition is such a transfer should be a false transfer. Apparent transfer, not a real transfer. So these three conditions have to be satisfied for something to be called Upadhi and along with something else to be called Upahita. Now, if we look at all the Anatma in this entire universe, there are only three things which will satisfy these three conditions. That is the Sharira Trayam. And that is the cause for all our problems. The misconception or the mixing up of this Anatma with our original nature, which is Atma. So because of that, he just is explaining the connection between the Sharira Trayam and the Atma, and why the Sharira Trayam is the only Upadhis we should be worried about. And the Sharira Trayam satisfy all the three conditions. So he starts from Stula Shariram, then Sukshma Shariram, and he will talk about Karana Shariram also. So in the last class, we saw the 13th mantra, if I'm not 13th sloka, which talked about Stula Sharira. And he said, Bodha Ayatanam. He said, this Stula Sharira is the Ayatanam, the abode, even though a temporary abode, but a abode for the Atma to live and also to do transactions with the external world. Because without Stula Shariram, the Atma cannot do any transaction. In fact, without Stula and Sukshma Shariram, the Atma cannot do any transactions. Stula Shariram requires Sukshma Shariram to do the transactions. Isn't it? The instrument is the Sukshma Shariram. And the one which does the transaction is the Stula Shariram. So, he explained about the Stula Shariram in the last sloka. Now, in the 14th sloka, he comes and talks about the Sukshma Shariram. We will read the sloka and see the meanings. Okay. Anadya vidya nirvachya karanopadiruchyate upaditritaya dhanyam atmanam avadharayet. So here he says upadi tridayat anyam. Upadi tridayat anyam. That is the third upadi. Anadi anirvachya avidya or anirvachya anadihi avidya, you can take, right? So, sorry, I think I skipped one, no? He talked about Karana Shariram. Where did he talk about? Oh, did we do the 13th one? No, I think we missed that.
13th last time verum padicha avladha.
Okay, we didn't do the meeting. Right, okay, I'm sorry. Somehow in my mind I thought we had done the 13th. The 12th sloka was the Stula Shariram. 13th was the Sukshma Shariram. We have not done that. Sorry, we'll go back. Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam apanchikrita bhutotham sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam. So here he says bhoga sadhanam. Here earlier he said bhoga ayatanam. Now bhoga sadhanam. It is the instrument for all our experiences. And what is that? Pancha pranaha mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam apanchikrita bhutotam. Earlier he told panchikrita, grossified. So here the subtle body, the Sukshma Shariram is ungrossified. Apanchikrita bhutotam. That means it is a non-grossified in a subtle form. And it is a sadhana, instrument. Sadhyate praptyate sukha dukkha bhogaha anena iti sadhanam. That which is the instrument for all our happy and sorrowful experiences, that instrument is called sadhanam. Sukha dukkhadi bhoga sadhanam. Right? See, in Tattva Bodha, we have seen all these things. But there it was all in prose form. And here, the same prose, he is converting into poetry, or rather the other way around. Because Tattva Bodha, according to our understanding, is a much later text. This one Shankaracharya wrote first. So this poetry is what is converted into prose in Tattva Bodha. Right? There also the same description we saw. Bhoga sadhana. Sukshma Shariram is Bhoga sadhana. Right? So what is this nature of this Sukshma Shariram? He explains. Right? All others are adjectives. Pancha pranaha mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam. Pancha prana means the 5 pranas. We know that. Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. Pancha prana. Then mano buddhi, mind and intellect. Then dashendriya. Dashendriya means pancha jnanendriya and pancha karmendriya. Dashendriya. There we saw later on, initially it was only 17, Then when he talked about what is that? Chaturvimsha Kaladivihi in Tattva Bodha, along with Mano Buddhi, the Chittam Ahankaram was also added as 19, right? Plus 5 pranas, 24. That was what we saw in Tattva Bodha. But here he talks about 17. And Mano Buddhi, we can include the other two also, Chittam and Ahankaram also along with it, because when we talk of Antakaranani, we talk about 4 Antakarana, four aspects of the Antakarana. Okay. So, Evam, that's why Tattva first it says, Evam Sapta Dashakaladibihi Yat Saha Yat Tishtati Tat Sukshma Shariram. This was the Tattva Bodha definition. The same definition is here. In fact, I think that is borrowed from here only. Okay. So, Pancha Jnanendriyas are there. And they have the attributes of what? If you don't have the eye faculty, it's an eye faculty of sight. You don't have it, andhatva is there in that. Or even when you have the faculty of sight, you say, I am seeing. Are you seeing? You are not seeing. It is the Sukshma Sharira which is seeing with the help of Mano, backed by the mind. And in the front, it has got this Golaka, the eyeballs. This is what is seeing. But you take it as I am seeing. You are superimposing that Sukshma Shariram's dharma, that activity onto yourself and say, I am seeing. Right? So all these things, Andatva, Mandatva, even, a Manda Buddhi, oh, I am such a fool. We say that expression, isn't it? Are you a fool? Nobody is a fool. Atma can never be a fool. It is Sarvagya. So, but then we attribute that whatever is the Sukshma Shariram's qualities to the Atma by saying all these things, right? So I am Panguhu, I am lame. So many things. I mean, we can just go on. Wherever we are describing ourselves, we are having this mixture of Atma and Atma mixture. Right? I am hungry, I am thirsty, all these things. I am very sensitive type, I am a very emotional type. Right? So again, all these things, whenever we describe ourselves in terms of the attributes of the Sukshma Shariram, that Sukshma Shariram is a Upadhi, and we are superimposing all the attributes of the Upadhi on our Atma. That is what is happening. Okay. So, Pancha Prana, Mano, Buddhi, Dasha Indriya, Samanvitam. Samanvitam basically means consisting of. Right? Samanvitam. So, what is it consisting of? What is it made up of? Apanchikrita Bhuta Uttam. Right? So, Apanchikrita means not grossified, subtle, that means. And these 5 settlements are therefore what? They are the Upadana Karanam. The 5 gross elements are Upadana Karanam for the Sukshma Sharira, which is what all we saw the gross elements. That is Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. They are the Upadana Karanam for the Stula Sharira. We have seen. Right? And the same 5 elements, that is grossified ones, are Upadana Karanam for Stula Shariram. The same 5 elements in the subtle form, ungrossified form, are the Upadana Karanam for the Sukshma Sharira. All this we have seen in Tattva, right? And Nimitta Karanam for all this is what? As we saw, 2 Nimitta Karanam, the 2 Karanams are there. One is this one, this Sukshma Shariram, this Sukshma Panchabhutam, they are the Karana, Upadana Karanam. Nimitta Karanam is what? Karmas. Our own karmas are the Nimitta Karanam. What type of Sukshma Sharira? what kind of faculties that we get when we are born, what kind of faculties we take away with us when we die, what vasanas are there, what are all the stored, the previous vasanas plus the vasanas which we have acquired in this life. What is it that we are taking away with us? So this is the nimitta karanam for the sukshma shariram, our own karmas, right? And of course, Ishvara is the main karanam, jagat karanam for everything. We cannot ignore Ishvara, right? So Ishvara and karma, you can say, are nimitta karanam, and pancha mahabhutas in their sukshma form are the upadana karanam for this sukshma sharira. Yeah. Now, Adi Shankara comes to the Tritiya, next sloka, which we started actually by mistake, which is the Karana Sharira. Okay. We will again read it once again, it doesn't matter. Anadya Vidya Nirvachya Karanopadiruchyate Upaditridayadanyam Atmanam Avadharayet. So as I said, he said Upaditridaya Anyam. So this is the third Upadi now he is talking about, which is Karana Sharira. And he is describing that as Anirvachya Avidya or Anirvachya Anadihi Avidya. Again, this Anirvachanam and all we have seen, right? And the avidya that is being talked about, we must be very careful to understand it is the Mula Vidya which is being talked about. Because Mula Vidya or Maya is the attribute of Karana Sharira, not Tula Vidya. We must make that difference in our mind very, very clear. So when we are talking about Mula Vidya here, we are talking about Maya or the Upadhi of the Karana Sharira, attribute of the Karana Sharira, right? And it is this Mula Vidya or Maya which is responsible for the projection of the Stula Shariram and Sukshma Shariram also. So thus the Karana Shariram is Mula Vidya, which has got Vikshepa Shakti and also Avarana Shakti. That we have to understand very carefully. Huh? This Maya Shakti, we call it at the level of the Prapancha, at the Samashti level. The same power of Maya, of Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti exists in us in the Karana Shariram in the form of Mula Vidya. So this is the relationship between the how the Samashti and the Vyashti are having the same kind of attributes. And these attributes we are actually transferring to the Sukshma Sharira and also the Stula Sharira. And through that it is being transferred to the Atma. And all this Mithya Prapancha projection is taking place because of that. So this Karana Shariram, basically we have to understand it's a Bija Avastha, in the seed form. We can't see, it is subtler than Sukshma Shariram. Sukshma Shariram itself we cannot see, we cannot perceive, isn't it? Why? Because it is Sukshma. If it is non-grossified. And Karana Shariram is Sukshma Taram, more Sukshma than Sukshma Shariram. So how can you perceive that, Karana Shariram? And moreover, since it is the Karanam, cause for everything else to do with us, in what form it can be? cause is always in a seed form. Like cause of all the plants and trees are all in seed form. Cause of a human being also, all living beings are all in seed form only. That is the Karana Sharira. So it is further non-perceivable. I mean, you can just only conceptualize Karana Sharira. You cannot test it of its existence. But logically, Shastra proves the existence of Karana Sharira for a very simple reason. That if creation has to take place, next creation, it has to take place with some seed only. Nothing is born without a seed. Now, what is that seed for the creation? It is the Karana Shariram. Karana Prapancha at the Samashti level and Karana Shariram at the Vyashti level. That is why even in Pranayam, Sukshma Stula Shariram goes away. But Stula Shariram, whatever is there at the time of Pranayam will go away. Sukshma Shariram is also resolved in Pranayam. But the Karana Shariram of the Jivas doesn't go away. The Karana Shariram has to exist because out of that Karana Shariram only the next creation of the Jiva will come. So when we understand this Srishti Prakriya, we have to understand all these subtle concepts. So our Karana Shariram, and that is why all our karmas are where, stored where, all punya papas which we have earned, they are all stored in the Karana Sharira. So even though there is a pralayam and your Sukshma Shariram has gone, your Stula Shariram has gone, because of this Karana Shariram is still existing in the seed form, when the Jiva is born again, the karma account is again gets attached. So karmas never get destroyed. Punya papas will never get destroyed even after pralayam. It will continue with the jiva. There is only one way karmas will be destroyed, which Shastra says, which is Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Your Sanchita and Agami karma will get destroyed when Jivan Mukti, and Prarabdha karma will get completely finished off in Videha Mukti. That is the only way you can get rid of your karmas. And that is why Shastra, Upanishad after Upanishad keep on emphasizing that as long as you have got this karma in your account, this Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, you cannot avoid. And if there is a Punarapi Jananam, all these miseries, all these Sukha Dukkha, this Samsara, you cannot avoid. You will continue to be a miserable and limited entity. You will continue to take that. Birth after birth after birth. Being at the misery of, at the mercy of everything else. And that's why Shastra is emphasizing, this is a great opportunity you have got, my dear, that you are born as a human being. And in this human birth only you can get this Brahma Vidya, this Atma Vidya. Go for it. Don't waste this and get rid of your karmas. If you are not getting this Atma Vidya in this Janma, you don't know what you will be born as, and then you are going to get next this opportunity for this Atma Vidya to get rid of this karmas. So from a Shastra point of view, what is moksha as a Parama Purushartha? Moksha as a Parama Purushartha, you can see it in one perspective, getting rid of all your karma balance. That is moksha. You have no more karmas to exert. So there is no Karana Shariram. Karana Shariram gets dissolved because there is nothing to store. That is moksha. So all three Sharirams are totally gone. There is nothing surviving for rebirth. So that is why Shastra emphasizes again and again and again. It is not just like that they didn't have anything to do, so they are telling this. They are telling us the secret, this rahasyam, how to get rid of these karmas and avoid this rebirth and avoid being born in this miserable earth with all this corona, everything. How you can avoid? This is what Shastra is telling us. But then we have to understand it in that manner and then do something about it, isn't it? Okay. So this avidya, this ignorance, mula vidya, which is maya, that is in the bija avastha in the mind, of the mind, and that is called mula vidya. We have seen that, right? So now, if we just analyze it a little further, is our mind in a resolved condition or in a wakeful condition now? I hope it's in a wakeful condition, not in a resolved condition. Because in school and all, some children, their mind, even when everybody else in a wakeful condition, their mind will be in a very resolved condition. They will be sleeping in the class. I'm sure it is not happening with us, right? So when it is in a totally resolved condition, in what avastha it is, the mind is in mula vidya avastha. Totally resolved, there are no thoughts in the mind. And why mula vidya avastha? Why bija avastha of the mind? Because when we wake up, that mind also wakes up. From that karana shariram only, even every day, from this layam yanti, our, forget pralayam, every day we go, layam is there, sleep. If this karana shariram was not there, we will not get up. That beej has to be there, the seed has to be there. For the mind to wake up and then start the activities next day. Every day is a new creation for us if you actually look at it. Isn't it? Every day we are born. And since we are born with all our past karmas, all our past vasanas, it's the same process. Same process which takes place within a particular cycle of creation. We are born with this our Sukshma Sharira and also the Karana Sharira. Only every birth, Sukshma Sharira goes away. Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, along with Atma, travel. Atma means I am talking about the Chidabhasa. They travel to take up a new body. So, this mind, even though it goes to sleep and it is in a very laya avastha, we call it as a mula vidya avastha, karana sharira avastha, because it gets generated again once the next day comes or the next cycle comes of creation, right? And this mind has got the ignorance which is continuing with that, the ignorance of its real self, right? The aviveka, the non-discrimination between satyam, asatyam and all, this continues in the mind. But what is that avidya? That ignorance is tula vidya. So you must understand this very subtly. When the mind is totally resolved, that state of the mind is a mula vidya state. When the mind is operative in the waking state, it's still the avidya continues. Avidya in the form of ajnanam, ignorance, aviveka continues, but that is the tula vidya. That's not mula vidya. Tula vidya means it is a ajnanam relating to the difference between Atma and Anatma. Nityam, Satyam, Nityam and Anityam, Satyam and Mithya. This difference we do not, the mind is not able to make out, and that is a Tula Vidya which is continuing. So from the mind point of view, when it is resolved in the deep sleep state, it is a Mula Vidya state, and in the waking state, the mind has got Tula Vidya. Tula Avidya. Okay. And this Tula Avidya is what is the Avarana Shakti of the mind. Right? Because of that Avarana Shakti, the mind is not able to perceive this difference between Atma and Atma. So Tula Vidya directly Avarana Shakti. We are not, as I told you, worried about the projections. We are not worried about the Vikshepa Shakti at all. Vikshepa Shakti there gets activated in the deep sleep state. But in the waking state, what is operative is the Avarana Shakti, because of which this Tula Vidya is there, and because of which our self-ignorance is there. The ignorance of our real nature, the ignorance of what is Satyam and what is Mithya, and then in the problem of mixing up the two, the Anyonya Adhyasa, which we talked about, all these problems are there because of this Tula Vidya and this Avarana Shakti of this mind. Or in fact, you can put it Avarana Shakti of the Mula Vidya. The Mula Vidya is Maya. Maya is not Avarana Shakti. So it is Mula Vidya's Avarana Shakti at the individual level, which is acting as the self-ignorance. Right? So in Vedanta, what we do, we don't worry about the Mula Vidya. What we try to do is, we are trying to first resolve this Tula Vidya. Because even after removal of this Tula Vidya, the mind will continue. For a Jnani also, mind is there. What we do is only this Avarana Shakti, which is clouding the mind, deluding the mind, that we remove in Vedanta. And let the mind continue. So, even in a Jnani, the Mula Vidya, that is the Karana Shariram, continues. If the Karana Shariram doesn't continue for a Jnani, he won't be able to wake up the next day after going to sleep. Isn't it? Or, other way around, if there is no Karana Shariram, then he won't be able to sleep at all. If the Mula Vidya, Avidya is not there, he won't be able to sleep at all. His mind will continue to be active only because for a Jnani, the Avarana Shakti is gone. And there is nothing to induce a sleep in him. The Mula Vidya is not there, suppose, he won't be able to go to sleep. Or when he goes to sleep, he won't be able to get up also. So, this Mula Vidya and Karana Shariram will continue in a Jnani also. And the that Karana Shariram will go for a Jnani only on Videha Mukti. So, till body is there, the Mula Vidya will continue to be there. Right? So, for a Jnani, this Avarana Shakti is destroyed, even though the Mula Vidya continues. And it is not harmful because the problem or real poison is the Avarana Shakti. That is what we are attacking in Vedanta, right? Once the Avarana Shakti is removed, let Mula Vidya continue, doesn't matter. It will be like a cobra without a fang. It doesn't have any poison, right? So, for a Jnani, the Mula Vidya also becomes like an instrument only, right? So, just for as Ishvara, Maya is a glory, isn't it? Without Maya, Ishvara cannot do any Srishti. In fact, Ishvara, when we say it's only Brahman plus Maya, we say it is Ishvara, right? And Maya is very, very happy about that Maya. Ishvara. Mama Maya Duratyaya. Mama Maya, he says, right? Krishna says. So that just like the Maya is the glory of Ishvara, but he is not bound by that Maya, because for Ishvara there is no Avarana Shakti. Similarly, for the Jivan Mukta, the Karana Shariram does not contain any Avarana Shakti. Therefore, it is harmless. In fact, he will treat it as his glory. Right? He will sleep during the sleep time, and he will get up when he wakes. But during sleep, the identification with the Karana Shariram is not there. He will never say, I slept well, a Jnani. Because he knows, Sarupataya, I don't sleep, I don't wake up at all. It is this body which is sleeping and waking up. So he has no identification. He is Aham Asangaha. So I cannot identify with anything, including Karana Shariram. Forget Stula Sukshma Shariram. He doesn't identify even with the Karana Shariram. He will sleep, get up, that's all. Sleep is nothing but one of the activities that his body does, with which he has no connection. Jnani has no connection. Yeah, all these things are belong to the three sharirams, right? So we can say that this Mula Vidya is Bhaditam for a Jnani, Sukshma Shariram is Bhaditam, and Stula Shariram is Bhaditam, means all are falsified for a Jnani. Even though it exists, all these three Shariras exist, a Jnani understands that all these are Mithya. So I am Satyam, this is Mithya. I have nothing to do. We are two different levels of degrees, two different degrees of reality. Satyam can never have any relationship with Mithya. Satyam can never have any identification with Mithya. So this is the understanding the Jnani gets because of his Atma Jnana, right? And as I told you, this Mula Vidya will continue for a Jnani as long as his Prarabdha continues. That means as long as his Stula Shariram and Sukshma Shariram continue. And Prarabdha Avasana Kale, Stula Shariram Gacchati, Sukshma Shariram Gacchati, Karana Shariram Api Gacchati. Videha Mukti Kale, Mula Vidya Nashyati. That is the Mula Vidya, which is the Karana Shariram. It also gets destroyed in the Videha Mukti time. But during the Prarabdha Karma continuation, as long as there is a Deha for a Jnani, even though Mula Vidya continues, it is Bhaditam. That is, it is falsified. Mula Vidya is falsified because Jnani is what? He has got the Jnanam. There cannot be any Mula Vidya or Tula Vidya so far as a Jnani is concerned. He has got the highest knowledge. There is no question of any Avidya. But because of this Karana Shariram issue, the Mula Vidya continues, but he will falsify it. He says that this doesn't belong to me. I am a Jnani. That will be, he will not go around saying that. He will think, he will understand it himself in that particular manner, right? So, during Jivan Mukti, all these three Sharirams are falsified. During Videha Mukti, they are all completely destroyed, right? So as long as he's there, Jnani, this Karna Shariram will be there, and the Sukshma Shariram will be there, Stula Shariram will be there. Jnani will use all these things for his transactions with the world. They will use it, he will use them as a sadhana, instrument. That's all. He will never have identification with any of this Sharira Traya, right? So therefore, this third Upadhi is Avidya, Mula Vidya, otherwise called Maya. It is also referred to as Prakriti, and also we have seen Agyan. The various words we have seen. And when did this all start? It says Anadhi. That's what he says, isn't it? What he says. We are in. Okay. Anadi avidya anirvachya. Right? Anadi, beginningless times. What does beginningless times? Karana Sharira. Because Stula Shariram and Sukshma Shariram, there is a beginning. At the beginning of every creation, they come into the picture. Right? So during Srishti, Stula Sukshma Shariram begin. During Pralaya, the Stula and Sukshma Shariram resolve. Therefore, Stula and Sukshma Shariram fall within creation. Whereas this Karana Shariram doesn't fall within creation. It continues from one creation to another. As I told you, in the Bija Avastha. Because it's the very cause of creation. The entire creation is what? Samashti Karana Shariram put together is the Bija for the next creation, next Prapancha. And that's why it said that the creation is made by Ishvara. Why? For enabling all the jivas to exhaust their karmas. And also to earn new karmas. So, Ishvara Bhagavan gave you a manual. He created this world, you and me, and gave you a manual in the form of Vedic mantras. Entire Veda, Purva Bhaga and also Uttara Bhaga. He gave that manual. We started operating this jiva without reading that manual. And whenever you don't read the manual and try to install any sophisticated instrument on your own, you know what will happen. You will get everything wrong. It will not work the way it is supposed to work. Same thing has happened to us. We don't read the manual. We don't try to understand what instructions have been given for the use of this body, mind, sense complex. And then we get into all sorts of trouble. Our whole body, mind, sense instrumenters or machinery gone for a toss. That's what is happening, right? So this Karana Shariram doesn't get destroyed in the Pralaya. That is why he says that Anadi avidya anirvachya. This word anirvachanam we have seen earlier, right? What is anirvachanam? That which appears, but that which is not a reality. When it appears, it looks like real, but it is not real. So anirvachaniya, you cannot describe that. The same, terminology is used for Maya also. Anirvachaniya, isn't it? So this is, what he is saying here. Anirvachaniya. Karana Upadhi Uchyate. We have seen the Karana, it's called Karana Upadhi. Apanchikrita Bhutotham. Apanchikrita Bhuta means non-grossified Bhuta. Uttam. Bhoga Yatanam. Bhoga Sadhana. Sushpangam Bodha Sadhana. So it is a Sushpangam. It's a subtle instrument, subtle part of our Sharira Trayam, which is a Bhoga Sadhana, which is the instrument for all our Dukkha and Sukha and Dukkha, right? So even though when a Jnani is actually active, he is doing a lot of things, in his mind, in his understanding, he will think what? I am not doing anything. Isn't it? Pashyan Srinvan, Sprishan Jigran, Ashnan Gach. All these things he will do. These are words from Ashtavakra Gita. And in Bhagavad Gita also similar idea is there. Naiva kinchit karomi iti yuktaha manyeta tattvavit. Nahi kinchit karomi, I don't do anything. Iti yuktaha, iti manyeta yuktaha tattvavit. Pashyan, shrinvan, prishan, jigran, nashnan, gachan, swapan, shwasan. All these activities, Pashyan, seeing, shrinvan, hearing, sprishan, touching, jigran, smelling, ashnan, eating, then shwasan, sleeping. All these activities, even though a jnani does, he understands that I am not doing any of these activities. Naiva kinchit karomi iti manyeta tattvavit. Yuktaha manyeta tattvavit. So this is what a jnani is. There are many shlokas in the Gita, which are expounding this particular aspect, right? So we must understand a jnani's activity is not borrowed from karana sharira. Sorry, jnani's inactivity is not borrowed from karana. Our inactivity is borrowed from karana sharira. Inactivity means deep sleep state. Whereas jnani's inactivity is not borrowed from the karana sharira. Because inactivity is his swarupa. Akartritvam is his swarupa. Jnani swarupa. Since he understands that, even though his body-mind complex is doing so many activities, jnani has an understanding that my karana sharira actually is a mithya. I cannot attribute any activity to my karana sharira also, or inactivity to karana sharira. I cannot attribute any inactivity to karana sharira or activity to any sukshma or sthula sharira. Because inactivity, akartritvam, is my nature, it is my original swarupa. So that is why even though a jnani appears to be doing anything, in his own mind he knows that he doesn't do anything. And since he doesn't do anything, in his understanding, he is akarta, jnani doesn't get any punya papa. He is detached from the, what you can call the punya papa generating capability of all the actions, good actions and bad actions. So he is free from punya papa. So how to make a difference between a jnani and ajnani? Yeah, ajnani also will be a akarta, just lying down, doing nothing, right? But that akartritvam is borrowed or taken from karana shariram because of the identification with the karana shariram. Whereas the jnani, his akartritvam is his swarupa. No identification with karana shariram. So this difference between a jnani and ajnani, we must understand. So this is what this particular mantra is saying, sloka is saying, right? And so far as ajnani is concerned, his akartritvam is only temporary, in the sense that for a time he is sleeping, he is akarta and abhokta. Because all his, sushma shariram, everything is resolved in deep sleep. But it comes back again. So it's only temporary akartritvam. For a jnani, the akartritvam is permanent because no identification with karana shariram at all, right? So there is this other sloka, karmani akarma yaf pashyat akarmani cha karma yah. It's a very, very subtle and very complex, complicated sloka in Bhagavad Gita. There also the same idea is being said. It looks like a contradiction, right? Karmani akarma yaf pashyat. While doing karmas, the one who sees himself as a non-doer. Akarmani cha karma yah. When not doing anything, the one who sees himself doing everything. Now, when you actually look at the sentence, it's a very complicated and a very it looks like a contradictory sentence. When I am not doing anything, I am seeing myself as a doer. When I am doing something, I see myself as a non-doer. What does this mean? Of course, we won't go into the explanation of this sloka. So, this is another sloka in the Gita, which is expounding the same aspect. The identification with Karana Sharira gives one type of what you can orientation. The non-identification with the Karana Sharira changes that orientation. When you identify with the Karana Sharira, you have this problem of I am a doer, aham karta and all that. And during the period the Karana Sharira is active, it is in the Mula Vidya state, in the deep sleep state, only you take yourself akarta, abhokta. All other times you are taking yourself as bhokta and karta only. Whereas for a jnani, since there is no identification and since this akartrutvam is his nature, permanently he takes himself to be akarta, abhokta only, not temporary. Right? So that is why he says bhoga sadhanam, he said in the earlier verse also. So now, first line he talked about this upadhis and the confusion between the upadhi and upahita. And from the second line, he is now talking about, wait. So in the second line, upadhi tritayat anyam atmani atmanam avadharayet. He says, right? So this is, he now says, now all these problems I have told about this upadhi mix-up, upadhi upahita mix-up, now how it should be resolved. That is, he's talking about sorting out this confusion in the second line. So its first line was, along with the previous two slokas, creation of confusion. In this sloka, second line, resolving of the confusion. So for this what, as I told you, Avarana Shakti is required to be destroyed. We can leave the Vikshepa Shakti as it is rather. So that we have seen already. So let the Sthula Shariram continue, Sukshma Shariram continue, everything. The real damaging aspect is the Avarana Shariram, Avarana Shakti rather, right? So what Shankaracharya says is, Upadhi Tritayat Anyam, different from Anyam, different from all these three Upadhis which I have talked about, Atmanam, the Atma, that is myself, my real self. I am the real Upahita Chaitanyam, iti avadharaye, iti nischayam kurya, nirnayam kurya. We must understand that. That is the starting point of sorting out this confusion, this problem. And once we sort out this, we get this Atma Anatma Viveka, this Upadhi Upahita Viveka, and we take ourselves, we understand our real nature, then let these Upadhis continue. They are not going to do me any harm. As I told you, the cobra with the fangs removed rather, they are no longer poisonous. Right? Because if they are not upadhis, they are your real nature, then whatever you do, you cannot remove them, isn't it? For example, suppose you are wearing a white cloth and then you sit somewhere which has got an oily, some stain, oil stains are there, you sit there and the oil stain get onto the white cloth. Whatever you do, it will not go, that oil stain will not go from the white cloth because they become part of that. Similarly, if these upadhis are the real dharma of I, all the Upadhi dharmas are all my real attributes, then all this Vedanta is a waste. Vedanta is useful only if there is a way out. Otherwise, we'll continue to be in samsara and then this will continue throughout. There is no escape from punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Because that is a upadhi and different from me, Atma, Vedanta is taking all this trouble to teach us that. Isn't it? So if the transference of the upadhi to the attributes of upadhi to upahidam is real, it is a waste. Vedanta is a waste. Only if it is false, Vedanta makes sense so that you can cognitively separate the upadhi and the upahidam. Right? So that is what Shankaracharya has explained in these slokas. And he is going to explain these aspects in detail hereafter. Here only he has given the very headline. Isn't it? What he says? He says, Upadhi Tridayat Anyam Atmanam Avadharaye. This is only a headline he has given. Now, next slokas and all, he will explain this in detail. Okay, which we will see in the next class. Okay, on Friday. I'll say the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya
Purnamevavasishyate.
Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sri Om. Thank you all. Any doubts, questions, clarification?
Yes. ശരീരത്രയത്തെ പറ്റിയുള്ള ഡിസ്കഷനില് this Karana Shariram is said to be a Vyashti of Ishvara.
Karana Shariram is?
Vyashti. Vyashti means the subtle form of, or Sushma form of Ishvara. Just as the Sthula Sharira is Vyashti of Virat, and the Sukshma Sharira is Vyashti of Hiranyagarbha, and this Karana Sharira means Vyashti of Ishvara.
Yeah.
Of course, this is said to be a storehouse of papas and punyas.
Yeah. That's true. No. Correct.
When we sleep, sleep is said to be an example for being with or seeing God. Because the jiva resolves into Karana Sharira in the sleep. No?
Why Seriya Kakapatangal? Lower volume.
Karana Shariratradane jiva will resolve when it sleeps.
Not resolve. Karana Sharira is the seed of the jivas for the next jiva. All punya papas, karmas are stored in the Karana Sharira, and those punya papas are the Vishesha Karanam for the jiva to take the next birth.
Okay. Somewhere I have heard that this Karana Shariram is a Vyashti form of Samashti Ishvara.
No. See, Samashti, when we say Ishvara, we must actually understand Ishvara in two parts. Even though the two parts are inseparable. One is Brahman and another is Maya.
Oh, okay.
So at the Samashti level, when we say Ishvara, we are talking about the combination of Maya and Brahman.
Okay.
Maya Sahitam Brahma is Ishvara.
Okay.
At the Vyashti level, the same Maya is manifesting as the Karana Sharira.
Okay, very good.
And that Karana Sharira at the Vyashti level, that Maya is called Moola Vidya.
Okay. So just as from Maya the Prapancham comes, From the Karna Shariram, the
individual
so,
Vyashti Jiva is born.
okay, very good.
It is the same thing. One the top level, one the macro level, micro level.
So the Maya is Maya and Karna Shariram.
Exactly. Maya and the Karana Shariram is nothing but the function of Karana Shariram is a function of Maya at the Samashti level.
Maya Samashti level and
Karana Shariram at the Vyashti level.
Vyashti level. Okay, very good. Very good.
Avada. Function, the Avarana Shakti, Vikshepa Shakti, everything which Maya has got, this Karana Shariram has got.
Okay, very good.
That is how we have to understand, both at the macro level and micro level. And Adhanalatan, like Maya is also Anadi Ananta, right? Similarly, Karana Shariram is also Anadi Ananta.
Anadi, Anirvajaniyam.
Anirvachaniyam. Maya is Anirvachaniyam, Karana Shariram is Anirvachaniyam. So all that qualities of Maya which we describe at the Samashti level, same thing is existing at the Karana Shariram at the Vyashti level. So that is why in the Vyashti level also, Aham Atma Brahman, along with Karana Shariram only the another Jiva is born.
Okay, very good.
Atma alone cannot do anything. It is Akarta. It cannot, and it is not only Akarta, it is Adhikaratvam also is there. It cannot change its form. But
yes, Sannidhi Matrena.
Sannidhi Matrena, everything is done by this Karana Shariram. It requires the Sandhidhyatvam of this Brahman or Atma. So that is how we know that. And the Brahman, Maya, India, Atma, and Karana Shariram. That is how we have to understand.
Brahmanodi Vyashti Varade.
Brahmanodi Vyashti Varade. Because, see, Brahmanodi Vyashti is a starting point. Atma is Vyashti of Brahman, but then that is meaningless because there is no difference between Atma and Brahman. Because Sarva Vyapi, there is no individuality. It cannot be divided into separate. Having said that, there are as many Atmas as number of people. Schools of thought.
Brahman plus Maya is Ishvara.
Yes.
So Ishvara has got two combinations, Maya and Brahman. That Maya manifests as Karana Shariram.
Correct.
Very good. Thank you.
Right. Any other?
Moola Vidya. Moola Kekrada. Moola Vidya and Moola Avidya. I mean, Renda Perikmudim.
Ella Moola Vidya la Moola Avidya da. Ada vandu sollum bodu Moola Vidya solluvom. Moola Avidya is Moola Vidya. There is no Moola Vidya.
The
Vidya is Brahma Vidya only. It's called Moola Vidya. Moola Vidya. Dirgha.
Plus
It is joining Moola plus Avidya. Moola Vidya. Moola Vidya means the original or the avidya, ignorance in its original form.
The seed form.
Root form. Moola.
Thank you.
Acha. So we will meet on Friday. Baki everything in Nana Nani and all is fine.
No further complication.
Abdiya, ennachu?
Ille complication ille perisa ille. There are not many restrictions also. There are not many. Amama. Pengam ponna poitu varla aru onnum kekkalle.
Oh. Ease lockdown ease pannita.
7 நாள் குவாரண்டைன் உள்ள 3 நாள் ஆக்கினா. ஆமா. அந்த 3 நாளும் பெருசா ஒண்ணும் பாத்துக்கல. எங்க ஒண்ணா சாணம் வாங்குறதுக்கு எல்லாம் வெளியில எல்லாம் போயிட்டு வரல. No further overseeing.
But I didn't see any circular or anything. They practice பண்றாளோ?
Practice தான். இல்ல admin manager ஓட
discretion.
Okay. நான் நேத்துக்கு பேங்க்கு போயிட்டு வந்தேன்.
ஓ
யாரும் ஒன்றும் கேட்கல.
அப்படியா? கேட்ல
Generally, people are not scared now.
People are not scared. Okay, that's a good thing.
That scare aspect, for some time there was a scare aspect because one person died and 3-4 hospitalizations.
Right.
And all have come back.
Hospital
எல்லாம் திரும்பி வந்தாச்சு.
எல்லாம் வந்தாச்சு. Oh good, very good.
எல்லாம் பெருசா என்ன ஃபாரின் ரிட்டர்ன் கழிஞ்சு வந்தாக்கா இப்ப பை பை சொல்ற மாதிரி எல்லாம் இப்ப போயிட்டு வரோம் எல்லாம் வெல்கம் பேக். Such messages are appearing.
Very good. Background, let us see what happens. Let's pray. Continue to pray.
கண்ணுக்கு காணாத ஒரு சங்கதி. We are not scared.
ஆமா. Correct. Anyhow, good. Sharina, then we will see you on Friday. Okay. Hari Om.
Okay.
Thank you. Close the meeting.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Mama. Namaskaram.
Hari Om. Namaskaram. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.